Good morning. Hey friends. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Let me get myself set up right cuz I'm not. Let me fix myself. Hold on, let me see. Okay. Okay. Um Boom and boom. Okay. I think I jumped the gun going live. I was like, "Ooh, let me hit the go live," and I was not quite ready, so my bad. All right, I can't even get to my profile. It's fine. Okay. We gonna let it do what it do. Okay, good morning, everybody. You guys were messaging me yesterday. Fran, are you gonna go live? Fran, are you gonna talk about? I feel like we've been talking about what happened yesterday. We've been talking about it. Okay. So yesterday, I know, look, I'm gonna just say this. I feel like sometimes y'all are in the chat and you guys are so happy to see each other and chitty chat with each other. Y'all just tune me out. You know how like mom is talking in the kitchen? Not that I'm mom, because I'm definitely not mom. Okay. But I feel like sometimes I'm talking and you guys totally tune me out. You guys are just tuning me out and not listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth. You guys are busy chitty chatting, right? Thank you, boo. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, only me. Girl, thank ya. Thank ya. Okay. Period. Thank you. Okay. Wait. Yes. Okay. But where is my thing? Where did I really want? Girl. Yes. Thank you. Girl, coming out the box. Thank you, only me 23. I appreciate you so much. Um, Hello? You would never tune me out? I don't know. Girl, is Bible Lady here? Y'all, Bible Lady was on a bit of a sabbatical. Let me not tell too much. Let me not talk not my business, but Bible Lady's back, y'all. If you've been missing Bible Lady in the chat, Mr. Dennis Byron, how are you doing? How are you, sir? So we've been talking about this for weeks, guys. And because I was talked out yesterday, we did a 3-hour live yesterday, y'all. Sis was tired. And my daughter asked me 3 times, "Mom, are you going live again? Mom, are you going live again?" Because Farrah had school and today was a 2-hour delay. So I have been on my mom business. Really, she was out of school on Friday. So Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, ma'am was not at school. Today, 2-hour delay. I was live earlier than went live again. So I have been on the computer most of the morning. So in effort to do the right thing and not just be on the computer all day, even though this is work for me, it's also fun because I have a good time doing it. My family has to like reconcile, like, oh, she is working, but they know that I get a kiki and I love talking to you guys. Hi, Bible lady. Hey, boo. So okay. So, but I felt like you guys had all of the information. So I shared it on my community post where we have been talking about this for months. Okay. But we're going to talk about it real quick. So yesterday too, and then after we got off live yesterday, I think that's when these documents they posted like pretty much soon after we got off live yesterday. That was number one. I had just been live for like 6 hours. Okay. Number two, I was watching Kelly Marie Bryant, the trash can mom from Pontiac. Some pretrial so there was like a 20-minute hearing I was watching, and then I was getting caught up on what was happening with Isaiah Ross, and I have a hard time talking about it because I feel like Isaiah is a liar, and I feel like I don't I feel like he's a troubled youth, and I think he killed Devin, and I think he killed Lyric. I don't believe that Devin and him fought, other than maybe Devin trying to fight to save his life, and he killed Lyric because she saw it. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Um, but I feel like he's gonna get like a second degree reckless. He's gonna get some sort of defending his life type situation. And I don't know. I'm not sure. We're gonna see how it turns out. But it's like, oh my god, I can't talk about it. Anywho, I was paying attention to that yesterday. Um, so yeah. Anywho, let's see what you guys are talking about. Welcome, Bougie Gang. Okay, you guys hit the thumbs up for me. We'll talk about it real quick. I'm gonna share and play some of the audio from a couple of old lives that we've already discussed this, because I don't have, you know what I'm saying? Like, girl, yes, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so yesterday, Judge Dunaway issued the certificate of immediate was already issued back in September. Okay. That was issued back in September. And we read the document. We read Judge Dunaway's opinion back earlier in September, excuse me, that detailed the reasons why he made the decision that he made. I told you guys when I came back from vacation in December that Hoover had put a docket entry on December 19th asking for um, the order to be vacated and for him to reissue the document, right? Like we've been talking about this for a long time. So it was just a matter of time, because Judge Dunaway took his sweet time. Hoover put the request in on 12/19. Dunaway took his sweet time, in my opinion. I don't know if he took his sweet time or not, but that's what I'm gonna say, and I have a right to say it, is that it took a long damn time for him to reissue. Now Dunaway didn't have to run to it because Hoover wasn't pressed to file. Hoover had the certificate of immediate review back in September. Why it wasn't filed timely? Now that's something that Hoover's going to have to answer. Hoover should have filed this appeal back at the end of September, beginning of October. According to what I've read for the state of Georgia, you have 10 days. So my assumption is 10 days means 2 weeks. You have 10 business days to get something filed. So even though this document is dated today and it was stamped yesterday, what in the fugazi is that about? I do not know. The document had today's date on it. It was stamped yesterday's date. He got another certificate of immediate review. So knowing what we know, Hoover's got to get this filed. He's got 10 days to get this filed. I would hope that he's been working on his brief back since December. If he's not working on his brief since December, I mean, I guess that's his problem, not mine. Okay? I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know what to say anymore. This case is so ridiculous. The fact that it's Nesto, that's really, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, this could really happen to anybody. I think it's unfortunate that it's like a calamity of drama. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go back to my favorite saying, don't start none, won't be none. Okay. No, they already have the transcripts. Transcripts are already on the docket. We read those, like, I don't even know. When did we read those, guys? We did a let's read. We read the whole entire document. So yeah, Dennis, no, the transcript is already there. Hold on a second. Let me share my screen. Let's see. The transcript for the motion to suppress let me focus for a second because I get distracted. Um, right here, this is the new one. It's dated. It was clocked in yesterday. It's got today's date. What in the fukaka is going on here? It's the certificate of immediate review. Hoover's got 10 days to do it. So that's however he gets it done. That's his business. At the end of the day, you get what you pay for. Nesto's not paying for anything and he's getting what he paid for. He's getting a lawyer who has a lot of caseload and obviously Nesto is not at the top of the list, but Dunaway issued a second certificate of immediate review, which is the motion, the motion of Ernest Williams, a defendant in the above style case, for suppressing the search of his vehicle, having been duly presented by the court on December 18th of 2024 and August 11th of 2025, and motion being denied September 4th. It is hereby certified that the decision and order denying defendant Ernest Williams' motion to suppress vehicle search is of such importance to the case, immediate review by the appellate court should be had. And it's of such immediate importance. I had to issue it 2 times because the defense attorney let it expire. Okay. Could they put that footnote on it? But we're not going to talk about that. Anywho, that was that. All right. I'm gonna have to sign back in, y'all. It signed me out. Hold on. Oh my God. Hold on. If you guys just bear with me because I'm logging back in and I'm missing you guys' comments. So if you're commenting directly at me, forgive me. Some things I'm just not seeing anything right at this moment. So you guys talk to each other. Give me just a minute. Okay. We're back to the docket right here. Okay, hold on. All right, right here. You guys remember we read this already? It was like, wasn't it 119 pages? We read the whole damn thing. Let me see. Motion transcript right here. We read the whole damn thing. October 27. Hold on. October. How long ago was October? Was that 2 months ago? I'm sure we did a episode of Let's Read. October 27. Transcript reading right here. 3 months ago. Transcript reading, motion to suppress hearing right here. Injury or a heart attack. He's in almost 4 hours. We read the whole thing. Ernest Williams transcript reading, motion to suppress. Let's read. Okay. If you guys want to hear that again, I'm just going to drop the link in the chat. We can't do like, it's probably between, I think the 3 or 4 lives we've done, like most recently on this topic. Guys, we're talking about 6 to 8 hours. So this is it right here. If you want to get into the transcript reading, this is it. I just dropped the link to it. We did a almost 4-hour live and read the whole entire thing we didn't even play around that day. We started it like 10 minutes in and did the whole damn thing. Okay. So that's posted right there. Okay. So if you're curious about what is at issue within what's going to go to the appellate court for them to review, the document, this document here, the motion transcript, it's on the docket 1027, and we read it on what date did we read it? We read it on 1028. And I just drop you guys the link to it. So if you want to listen to that at your desk today and get yourself refamiliarized, it does include, it's the day that we read the testimony, Shirley's testimony, because the Fugazi Fukaka blogger that sits in the courtroom who had an attitude because people would not hit the like button. We did not get the full gravitas of Miss Strawberry's testimony because people were in their feelings because nobody would hit the like button, and it was interrupted. So we got to get the full testimony from the transcript. Okay. All right. That's that. If you remember that, then you remember we read the transcript already. That what is at issue for the appellate court to review. But let's get into this over here. But what does this mean? The certificate of immediate review. The certificate is basically like, I'm not going to say it's a hall pass, but basically it is the judge co-signing to whichever party that would like that particular ruling reviewed, basically giving their blessing, if you will, that you can run this to the appellate court with my approval. And that's it. You can take this right to, I'm aware, and I'm giving my blessing for this to be reviewed. I've reviewed it, but I'm a judge and I may not be perfect, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's no kind of fault. It's just at the end of the day, I made my ruling, but I'm giving you this document that states that you have the authority to go to a higher court, bypass me. It's like having a skip level. You report to a director and you're going to go have a meeting with the senior director. So it's basically giving you permission for a skip level to have another additional set of eyes look at this particular decision with someone who is in a higher level of authority. So basically the judge is giving permission for you to go to the appellate court to have them review that particular decision. And that's it. That's basically what they're doing. And really, Nesto needs it because basically both of these cases are hinging on that vehicle search, because even though the sexual assault is a separate case, the computer was procured in that vehicle search. So even though it doesn't have anything to do with the RICO, it has an effect. Even though it doesn't have anything to do with the sexual assault case, it has an effect on the sexual assault case because there were receipts found in the vehicle. There was some evidence that tied Mr. Williams to the teacher. I think there were some receipts with credit card numbers. There were the dildos. There's the computer with the CSAM material in there. There's a lot of things. There are things from the sexual assault CSAM case that, if the motion to suppress had not been denied, could save Nesto in theory, right? But considering the fact that Judge Dunaway has allowed that to be in, and he denied that motion to suppress, Nesto it's giving cooked. Okay. Was that Thessie who dropped me something? Thank you, Thessie. I appreciate you so much. What up, Doe? Okay. Our friends in Detroit. Shouts out to our friends in Detroit. Okay. Thank you, Thessie. I appreciate you. And only me 23. Thank you for coming out the box. Okay. Period. Let me see. Hi, Jennifer. Hey, boo. 313 in the house. Okay, we're gonna talk about damn Kelli Marie Bryant. She pled guilty to welfare fraud. We're gonna talk about her once we're finished with this. I'm gonna shut this down and we'll come back on some Kelli Marie Bryant. Okay. All right. So if you guys want to listen to the transcript reading, get into it. I mean, I feel like a lot of you guys missed it. It doesn't even have 6,000 views. It's like 5,800 views. I feel like some of y'all missed it. So if you hadn't watched it or you feel like you need to watch it again, let me drop it in the chat. It's about 3.5 hours. We did not play around. We read, I think it was like 119 pages, and that is the full testimony with Shirley. I think there was a investigator from the prosecutor's office. There were a couple of witnesses, and then there was there was the conversation back and forth between Judge Dunaway and the attorneys, right? Detroit all day. Okay. And that's on per. Okay. All of our friends in Detroit. Yes. 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 Okay. Thank you, boo. I appreciate that. Okay. So he dropped so let's see what else he did really quick. Dunaway yesterday, he vacated the order. Do you remember? Defendant requests for court. I wonder why he probably didn't post the document because he didn't want us to drag him up and down the YouTube streets for basically letting the document expire. So Hoover posted on 12/19. Can y'all see this? Hoover posted on 12/19. He requested for the court to vacate the initial order and enter an identical order and a second certificate of immediate review. So Dunaway being Dunaway yesterday. It was requested on 12/19 and done away on 1/28. Damn, 40 days and 40 nights later. For good cause shown. What was the good cause? He was busy with other clients. What was the good? I want to know what the good cause was, as I'm not in Fulton County and I certainly don't pay taxes in Fulton County nor Georgia. But what was the good cause that a document that has 10 days to be filed was not filed and it was requested 2 months later to be reissued? That's what I would like to know was the good cause. But baby, I'm not paying Nesto's bills. I'm not paying for that attorney, and I'm not a Georgia resident, so I'm just going to be quiet and just throw it out there. For good cause, I beg to differ. It is hereby ordered that a certificate of immediate review was signed and e-filed by the court on September 30th, 2025 is hereby vacated. Okay. So that was done. That was done and done. Okay. So Hoover got what he wanted. Oh, my bad. Hoover got what he wanted. It was vacated and it was reissued. Okay. It was vacated and reissued. Why Hoover let it expire, I guess, is in the wind. We do not know. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go here. Let's go here. Uh-oh. Hold on. What am I trying to get to? Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. So yesterday, okay. I shared this. This was Billy Ansel. Okay, let's go
Miss
here.
Strawberry,
Supplemental brief and the state. Okay, this is, did we read this one? Hold on. Okay, that was the original one that was filed. All right, let's get into this. I feel like this is maybe what y'all want to hear because this is very helpful. Like if you kind of are like, what is this all about again? Like, I know what the motion to suppress is, but can you refresh my memory because I chat in the chat and I'm busy laughing and having a good time. Can you refresh us on the business, Fran? Okay, here we go. Okay. Hold on. Suppress. I'm sure I have this in here. Why could I not? Let's go here. This is the order denying, right? Okay. This is Judge Dunaway's order. I think this is what y'all going to want to hear. 25. Are we all on the same page? Are we in the same place, guys? Okay. The above referenced case came before the court on December 18th and August 11th, 2025, for a hearing on the defendant's motion to suppress the vehicle search. As set forth below, the court, having considered the arguments raised in the motion, the state's response in opposition thereto, the defendant's supplemental brief, and the state's motion to dismiss the defendant's motion to suppress, the arguments by counsel at the hearing, and the applicable law, hereby denies the same. The factual and procedural background. Let's talk about it. This is why the judge denied it and why he stated they can appeal it if they want. In a 39 count indictment, the defendant is charged with violation of the Georgia RICO Act, false swearing, theft, identity fraud, false documents, and other related charges allegedly arising from acts being in December 2009 and continuing through June of 2022. On September 30th, 2024, the defendant moved to suppress a vehicle search and all evidence obtained from the search of a white Ford F-350 by Roswell Police Department in violation of the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Georgia. Specifically, the defendant asserts that on or about July 7th, 2022, Roswell Police Department personnel observed him park and exit a vehicle, Ford F-350, at the parking lot located on Alpharetta Highway. Defendant states that he was arrested in said parking lot on a pending arrest warrant while he was taking pictures of a for lease sign. After the arrest, law enforcement impounded and towed the truck to the police parking lot. The next day, law enforcement obtained a search warrant for the truck, seized items inside the vehicle. Defendant asserts that search and seizure were performed without a valid search warrant. At the December 18th, 2024 hearing, Roswell detective Natalie Fields testified that in June 2022, Mr. Williams had multiple pending warrants for his arrest. Detective Fields further testified she observed the defendant driving the truck at issue, pulling into a parking lot, parking, exit the truck, and begin taking pictures. Detective Fields then took defendant into custody based on the arrest warrants. The truck was impounded for investigative purposes and towed to the police lot for a search warrant, and a search warrant was obtained. A copy of the search warrant was introduced into evidence, states Exhibit 1. January 6, 2025, the court requested defendant file a supplemental brief to suppress the vehicle search and all derivative evidence. In the supplemental brief, the defendant lists the evidence he contends should be excluded because of the illegal search. On January 24th, 2025, the state filed a motion to dismiss the defendant's motion to suppress on the basis that the defendant's lacks standing to challenge the search and seizure of the F-350. On August 11th, 2025, the court held a subsequent hearing and showed the state to present evidence on its motion to dismiss. At the hearing, hold on, guys. On August 11th, the court held a subsequent hearing and allowed, I don't know where showed came from, but girl, I may have been struggling with my glasses on that day, and allowed the state to present evidence. So my bad on that. Okay. Cause words matter. And it said allowed, not showed. Okay. So let me just make that footnote correction on today, January 29th, 2026. Okay. The state called Shirleystrawberry, the purported registered owner of the truck in question. The district attorney investigator, Billy Ansell, Miss Strawberry testified that she did not purchase, apply for credit, register, sign for, or authorize anyone to sign for anything on her behalf relating to the truck. She stated she did not complete, sign, or authorize anyone to sign State's Exhibit 1 for retail or vehicle credit application, the retail installment contract, and security agreement. Ms. Strawberry further testified that she knew defendant had purchased the truck but did not authorize him to use or know that he used her name or signature on her behalf. Investigator Ansel identified and introduced State's Exhibits 1 through 7, particularly State's Exhibit 1, the retail motor vehicle credit application, the retail installment contract, and security agreement. Based on investigator Ansel's research, all of the supporting information on the retail vehicle credit application, telephone numbers, email addresses, referencing individuals, did not relate to Ms. Strawberry, but were connected to defendant. Georgia law is clear that a defendant cannot assert a violation of his or her Fourth Amendment rights in regards to a search of a vehicle where he or she has no proprietary interest in it or legitimate expectation of privacy regarding the vehicle or its contents. On the contrary, as one knowingly using a stolen vehicle on a public roadway, a defendant probably is in constant expectation of intrusion by the authorities. They're just citing applicable law. This doesn't necessarily have to do with Nesto. This is a relatable case that they are referencing. For example, in a case involving a search of a fraudulently obtained hotel room, the Court of Appeals reasoned, although registered guests of a hotel can have a reasonable expectation of privacy in their room, one that has obtained a room by fraud can have no expectation of privacy in the room. Like one in possession of a stolen car, mere unlawful possession does not alone warrant a reasonable expectation of freedom from governmental intrusion. In this case, the evidence shows that the defendant obtained the Ford F-350 by fraud. Specifically, the documents regarding the truck show it was purchased in Ms. Strawberry's name, although Ms. Strawberry testified she did not purchase, sign, or authorize anyone to sign anything on her behalf relating to the truck. Ms. Strawberry further testified that although her signature appears on the application, she did not authorize the defendant to use her name or sign anything on her behalf. Accordingly, the court finds the defendant lacked any expectation of privacy in the seized and searched Ford F-350. See Thomas versus State. In conclusion, in the light of the foregoing, defendant's motion to suppress is hereby denied. So ordered on this day, the 4th of September, blah, 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 filed and served electronically in Odyssey. Okay. He stated in open court that they could appeal. So I'm sure he anticipated this. And at the end of the day, so when Hoover files his brief for appeal, right? So now that he has another certificate, which he better file in 10 days or it's going to expire again, right? The appeal court is going to go to the docket, right? And they're going to get everything related to this. Judge Dunaway went out of his way to fill this document with a timeline and receipts of why he made the decision he made, and also gave the approval for Hoover to go ahead and take it right to the appeal court if he wanted to. Remember, he told Wooten or Hoover, whomever doesn't have the decision in their favor is welcome to go to the appeal court, and he'll sign the certificate immediately, right? Um, that being said, we have the transcript. It's posted to the docket. We have the judge's ruling. The judge didn't just deny it. The judge wrote a paper and basically gave all of the reasons why this was denied. Furthermore, after this particular hearing, we also know a couple of things. What else did Wooten do? I'm just asking. You guys don't have to don't rush to answer in the comments. But what did Wooten do after Shirley testified? He went ahead and dropped 2 more indictments. Okay? He dropped 2 more indictments. You know why? Because under further investigation and additional testimony, there were additional crimes that needed to be prosecuted based on the fact that this vehicle search yielded additional evidence and research of a fraud. And because the fraud is so, I'm going to just use the word profound. That might not be the proper word to use, but there is a profound, there is a obvious fraud situation because it hinges on many different things. I think Wooten was obliged to go ahead and prosecute that identity theft against Miss Strawberry because it needed to be on paper. At the end of the day, the vehicle was obtained in fraud, and he did not charge for that initially. I don't think they had delved that deep into that aspect of the fraud. But once they did, Nesto went ahead and got himself 2 additional indictments, which is the Strawberry indictment, which is the indictment specifically against Shirley for not her legal husband using the rights and privileges of a husband to use interchangeably his wife's credit. But considering the fact that the marriage was bigamous, the marriage was null and void, and he really doesn't get to flex the benefits of a husband and those rights and privileges, it is and because she did not give any verbal approval, according to her, she was unaware that he was making these purchases. Although she became aware, she was not aware at the time and did not give approval. They're prosecuting for identity theft and fraud. Okay. So Nesto pushed the case of the suppression and got 2 additional indictments, which Wooten did petition to roll those 2 additional indictments into the RICO, which still has not happened yet because Dunaway does what? Take his time. Okay. He takes his time, and those indictments have not rolled yet, and there's still other pending motions. Okay. What else did we need to see in here? So we read that. If you guys want to listen to the transcript, I dropped you guys the link for that somewhere in this chat. You just roll back and it's in here. I dropped you the link for this if you want to listen to this entire episode because I feel like we read something else. What else is in here? Let me see. Hold on. I'm still getting used to the way they do this. They reset some things. Okay, what else did they? Okay. Okay, the background on the vehicles, we did that. Okay, that was the main thing in this video. We read Dunaway's paper. And what else did we talk about? Let's see. Signals to the states. Oh, and I think we did a quick research on the certificate of immediate review, the timeline, all of the things. What is the process? So what someone asked me in the comments yesterday, okay, what is the appeal court going to look for? I took some notes on that yesterday. Hold on. They're going to look for legal errors. Hold on. Okay, let me see. So what is the appeals court potentially going to be looking for? So this is just based on my research, right? What they're going to look for are potential legal errors. Okay, it doesn't mean that Judge Dunaway made an error in his ruling. It doesn't necessarily mean that Wooten or Hoover made legal errors, but that's what they're going to look for, potential mistakes, right? That's why you're taking it to a higher court. They're going to look at it with an independent, um, overarching, these are senior judges, right? They're looking for any errors, right? They're going to look for abuse of discretion. Maybe there was an opportunity for the judge to rule in one person's favor versus another person's favor, and like we just saw in Alicia Andrews, right, where the judge was now taken off of the case, right? Abuse of discretion, right? um so they could be looking at that. They could be looking at procedural misconduct. They could be looking for insufficient evidence, like maybe that was a stretch and the judge made a decision based on like a stretch versus like something that is obvious, right? So there's any number of reasons, but they're going to be looking at that thing. They're not going to be looking at the totality of Nesto's case. They're looking at the motion to suppress and all of the everything that surrounded it. So any hearings that they've done regarding the motion to suppress, that's what they're going to consider. And that's it. That's all. That's what they're looking at. They're not looking at anything else. And that's why the transcript had to be prepared. All of the documents are posted. That's why you see Judge Dunaway filed a very complete ruling with his reasons as to why and citing those. But so if those judges want to go back and say, oh, you met on August, whatever, you met on this and that, they can pull all of those motions and briefs and anything else and make their decision accordingly. So that's really all that is. I'm not saying that the documents filed yesterday were not a big deal. I think it would have been more of a big deal had it not been approved to be vacated and reissued. That might have been a deal. But as far as them reissuing it, that's a fun, that's a look at the Real Brown's avatar. Oh, that's cute. Um, Thank you, Miss HLS. You're so sweet. I appreciate you, hun. Okay. Okay. Oh, baby, I appreciate you. I think that we were waiting. It's like, well, damn. First of all, it's, well, damn, Hoover, why did you let it expire to begin with? That's what I would want to know. Like, if I were Nesto and I were sitting in jail for almost 4 years and I got denied on a key piece of, if I got denied on a key motion and it looks like I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail, I would think that my lawyer would be running, not walking, to file what could potentially save my life. I'm just saying. And the fact that he let it expire from September and did not request it to be reissued all the way to December, to me was like, what have you been doing? Then, furthermore, yes, so it was a week before Christmas. I'm not going to knock Dunaway for that, but it was a week before Christmas, but now it's the end of January. It's been over a month and Dunaway just reissues it. Now, is that maybe punishment or some sort of, you weren't in a rush to file it, obviously, so I'm not going to be in a rush to do what I've already done. And that's his right. That's his discretion to manage his desk however which way he feels is appropriate. But at the end of the day, I think just, in the fairness, because Dunaway seems to be, how are you, sir? How are you doing today? Are you okay? And da, 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 da. He seems to be so like, I'm the nice judge sitting on the bench. You would think that this particular judge might say, Let me expedite this quickly because this prisoner, obviously, this defendant is waiting. He's incarcerated. I don't know what took his lawyer so long, but gosh, let me not prolong this anymore because we have a court date coming up eventually, and just dragged his ass for 6 weeks to reissue it. And it can take up to almost 90 days, like for this to be reviewed. If they have oral arguments, this could take a minute. And Nesto has court now in April. So I would not be surprised. Like, we talked about this already. I would not be surprised if this time next year, it might be like, girl, Nesto's trial's getting ready to start. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, boo. Thank you, love to shop. Okay. Thank you. I love to shop too. Thank you, baby. Okay. But I think I dropped all of the supporting videos. I will put that other link. So for all of your viewing pleasure, if you guys want me to like rerun them on the late night, if you guys are going to show up, I mean, we can rerun the transcript reading if you want me to. If y'all going to be here, I'll rerun it, but I'm not going to rerun it on some just rerun it to rerun it. You know what I mean? Because it's almost 4 hours, y'all. But if you want me to rerun it so y'all can have a chat and y'all can kiki about Shirley's testimony again, I'll rerun it like on the late night, like tonight, or like what's today? Thursday? I don't know. Y'all let me know. Cause I mean it's not necessarily necessary, but if you want to listen to that again, I can always rerun it, but I'm not going to reread it for almost 4 hours because you guys know the transcripts are getting ready to drop for Sakina, and I got to get my mind ready for that. Volume 2 and volume 3 dropped, but those are jury selection, so I'm not reading those. But as soon as day 5 opening arguments drops, we'll be reading those transcripts for the Sakina Thompson case. And I got to get my mind right for that because that could be any day now. Let me see. I'm checking now to see if they dropped anything else. Well, there's a court order that says that everything has to be out by February 4th, so it should be dropping very soon. So we'll be doing that. I know some of you guys are anxious to hear Sakina's testimony and all of the things, so we're going to get into that. I'll be here for late night rerun. Okay. I mean, I'll do it. Petty Betty. Hey, boo. KK Scorpio. Hey, everybody. Okay. So if you guys wanted me to put like tomorrow, like at 9 o'clock, I feel like the weekend is better. I know some of you guys work the weekend, but I feel like most people don't. And even if you work the weekend, I think it's more of a little bit of a relaxed vibe on a Friday night rather than oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. Hi, VB. And guess whose bright idea to suppress silly Sonia and got him 2 additional. They weren't even prosecuted. The main thing that Shirley was the bigamy. But I think after the motion to suppress and Shirley coming and then them finding all the bogus documents and then just the tie-in with everything else, I think Wooten was obligated to go ahead and get some indictments for those, because I mean they are crimes. And considering that Nesto is going to make an issue about this Fourth Amendment, which Fourth Amendment is a big deal. I'm not saying that they have a right to just go in his vehicle and go get whatever they want. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to use another old phrase, God don't like ugly. And at the end of the day, maybe they weren't within their rights to search that vehicle, and it would have been fruit of the poisonous tree. But considering the poisonous tree started with some fraud of procurement, that the vehicle was procured in fraud, then the procuring of the evidence would be the fruit of the poisonous tree. Okay. The poisonous tree didn't start with the vehicle search. The fruit of the poisonous tree started when Nesto thought that he had rights that he did not have to that vehicle. So the fruit of the poisonous tree nexus is before they actually even searched it, because you didn't have any rights to the vehicle, because first of all, you're not even married to that woman. And then just the fact that you were married to the woman, even if the marriage was legitimate, at the end of the day, she didn't give you permission to use her information. She's still a person and she still had rights to her own financial information to be able to make purchases with her. Okay. And the fact that you thought because you were her husband that you could use her financial information, her identifying information, to make purchases that clearly you weren't eligible to purchase with your bad credit, no having funds behind, um, you were wrong. You were wrong. I mean, can we talk about the fact that this guy sat up there and used her information to purchase a vehicle? And like, it's like, sir, what was in your name? Why does everything that you're being held to account for, you want to bring up Shirley's name with that, someone brought up another thing that was great in the comments too, which I hadn't even thought about this. So regarding the computer, let's pivot for a second, the computer and the CSAM, because, CP, I think that's an old term. We really shouldn't call that, pornography. These kids are not consenting. So it's really, pornography is typically some sort of medium with consenting adults, and child P is, it's child sex abuse material. These kids are not in a position to make decisions for that. There's no consent with a child. um the fact that he wants to always want to blurt out that Shirley bought him the computer and stuff like that. Somebody said in the comments yesterday, what if that was a pawn shop that sold old computers that would load that type of material to it? Now, that opens up a whole can of worms, because I was like, well, you know what? That is, I mean, these days, you never know. There could be some sort of porn dealer out here, some sort of CSAM dealer selling old computers, and you go pick it up and it's got a bunch of nonsense, illegal material on it. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. And for him to constantly throw Shirley's name out, that, well, she bought it for me, she was with me, like all of these things, like, and what? So, did she research the location? Did she say buy that particular computer? You might have been going to that particular shop to buy that type of, you could have been going to buy that loaded on there anyway. I don't know. Aren't pawn shops regulated? Um, I don't know. Like, look, aren't there grocery stores that sell illegal stuff? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, didn't who watched, remember Breaking Bad, the guy who had the vacuum store? Remember on Breaking Bad, the guy, the cleaner? He specialized in helping bad guys go into the wind. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world that we just don't know anything about. You might be going to the dry cleaners and someone else is coming to pick up a pound or two of something. Okay. There's a lot of shit going on, guys. Like, all of you know what I'm saying? Like, all of you guys who don't, like, we don't always think about these type of things, but there's a lot going on in this world that we just don't know anything about. You're going into the ice cream store, someone's coming to pick up heroin. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, baby, it's a lot going on. And we don't know about it because we're not in that life. And the reason why these places are so in our face is because they're running, sometimes people are operating clean businesses but they got a little something perverted or illegal going on behind the scenes. There's lots of places you hear about. I don't want to pick on New York, but you hear about corner stores that are running drugs, guns, gambling, sex trafficking. There's a lot of shit going on, guys. How many strip clubs have a lot of stuff going on in the back? Okay. Come on now. A pawn shop selling computers with maybe something on it. I mean, that might be something that if you go to particular websites, they tell you, oh, in this city, you can go here and you can pick up a computer like that. It just got my mind thinking. I'm not saying that that's the case. We're just speculating and we're just talking. But what I'm saying is if we want to think of scenarios about this computer. So don't say Fran said. A commenter threw out the notion, what if that particular pawn shop where he bought it from maybe was some sort of broker that sold him that, and he knew what he was picking up had that type of media on there. Okay? That's all it is. There's nothing to support that. It's just someone's comment, and I just thought it was interesting because I was like, that's an interesting thought. Because he wants to throw out there how he's not computer savvy. This is my thing too. Someone says something enough, you start to believe it. At the end of the day, Nesto knew enough how to get on Instagram, post pictures. I don't know who posted everything for him or not, but people can play that they know how to do stuff or don't know how to do stuff. If you've seen the movie The Usual Suspects, you guys all know at the end when it's revealed that Kevin Spacey is Kaiser Sose, and you're like, oh shit, oh my God. Nesto partially is playing in everybody's face. Okay. Nesto might not be the most well-educated man, but he knows how to do what he's been doing. Now, has he been successful at it? Obviously not, because he's done many, 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 many bids, right? He's been in and out of jail most of his adult and prison most of his adult life. But at the end of the day, this man lives a certain type of lifestyle, and the double talk that he does, even the call that we listened to yesterday with Sonia, he like double, triple talks. And he basically tolerated Shirley. He used Shirley. I don't even know if he really liked Shirley. I think he liked her enough to be in her face for almost a decade. But as far as being in love with her, I just think he liked her access and he liked her paycheck that would come through. And I don't know what la la land Shirley was in to allow this guy to take off and use her money and put her in a worse financial position and have to take a couple of years to get herself back, unfortunately. But at least she was able to get herself back and get herself financially back stable and get herself away from him. But he was using her. Absolutely. Seems like it was said Shirley only paid for it because his card was declined. Yeah, so he didn't have any money. His debit card. This man didn't even this guy is grown as hell. No credit card and no money. How do you not know that your card's going to be declined? You either have money or you don't. In a debit situation, I wouldn't even tell anybody that. You know what kind of money you have. He probably knew he had probably $5 and swiped his card. Shirley was probably embarrassed and felt obligated. If he would have told Shirley pulling up to the pawn shop in a Bentley, come on now. I mean, this guy was ridiculous. I would have been embarrassed having a husband like that. That's awful. Up next, Sonia will use the pawn shop sold him the computer with the CSAM on it because that's what that pawn shop does. Okay. And you purchased it and you're just as guilty. That doesn't make him not guilty. That makes you going and buying it. Just buying, trading it, procuring it, developing it, producing it, you're all going to jail. That's all guilty. If he bought it, traded it, any of it, he's still got the charges he's still in possession of it. Girl, his rush card was declined. Nesto thought Shirley, being older than him, that he would outlast her. And yeah, he's not. He's the one who's got kidney issues and mediocre strokes. Shirley seems to be doing just fine in her 70s. She looks amazing. Okay. Like many other women in their 70s. And he would be able to live. She looks better than him in his 60s. It's incredible. And he would be able to live off her name into eternity. He probably had $5 in his account. He claimed he had used his card limit for the day. Look, I know I'm not the only one. I mean, you don't have a bunch. First of all, you only have one bank account. I'm gonna just say that. Who? Don't answer. But this is a don't answer question, okay? Who only has one debit card, one bank account, and one credit card? I mean, maybe there's some of you guys who do just but girl, bye. And why are you going to pull out a debit card that you know you don't have money? Why are you grown as hell and don't have any money? I don't know. You're going to go buy a computer. You should know whether you have the funds. I think that was one of those ploys that men who are kept up by women do. Swipe your card, and then the woman that's with you is embarrassed because your card wouldn't swipe, and she went ahead and paid for it. That's what I'm thinking. Okay? I'm thinking she probably was embarrassed because I would have been like, okay, let's go. I truly believe Nesta was on the path to unalive Miss. Oh, really? Well, look, I'm glad that did not happen. Nesta went to jail broke. He didn't even have $200. And if they had joint accounts, why, if they had joint accounts or he was really managing Shirley's money, would his debit card have been declined? Why didn't he have? You would think if what he was saying was true, that there was an account where Shirley's money was going and Shirley had her own independent money. Where was that account, and why was that account empty where you couldn't buy a computer? And then furthermore, someone else said this in the comments: why are you driving a Bentley, living in a 7,000 square foot home in Alpharetta, and going to the pawn shop to buy used computers? Hold on, let me give a bongo. Why do you have a security company and you're going to buy an old G-Tech computer? So you want a G-Tech, you want the law enforcement style computer. Why are you buying one from the pawn shop? And you have a security company, and this is supposed to be like vital to your business. And when you see Nesto in the car in his Challenger, or is it the Charger? The Charger. And he's sitting there with the computer and he knows how to look stuff up. Didn't he tell that lady Melody Scretchen, come over here, let me show you my my computer and he looked her up and looked up her name and looked up her information. He knew how to do that. Don't This is my point about, I was saying that before, I don't know if I finished my thought. Don't let somebody tell you something 20 times and start to believe it. Just because Nesto wants to say he's not computer savvy doesn't mean he's not computer savvy. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean he is going to sit there and do spreadsheets and code and develop an app. But he knew how to get on and do something. Okay? He knew how to wash car titles, okay? He knew how to register agents. Okay? He knew how to not pay those bills, right? That's possibility. He always said he handled the finances, so he probably considers that means Shirley knew what he bought or didn't buy. Meanwhile, he kept her in the dark with the details. At the end of the day, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna just give you a personal, for instance. My husband, like 2 years ago, bought a motorcycle. I wasn't there. He was actually with his sister and his uncle when he bought the motorcycle, right? I don't think I'm sitting here thinking I've never asked him. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't, I don't need to ask because my husband has his own credit. But if I were to find out today it was in my name, I would be shocked. But I know it's not. Already know it's not. But he's a grown man. He doesn't have to call me to tell me every time he spends a dollar. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa, right? So that's my point. Like the fact that Nesto bought the F-350, I don't think is necessarily a big deal. These are grown people. But if you are going to purchase something in someone's name, I do feel like that does require a conversation and just like, hey, I'm gonna put this in your name. You've got better credit. I want to, you know what I'm saying? You've got better credit than me, or whatever the case might be. Those are conversations I think married people have all the time. And I think it's not out of the ordinary if somebody is in a relationship. I'm not just saying about married, but let's say in this particular case, people who are legally binded together who are going to make a purchase in their name, and it's a personal purchase like a piece of jewelry or a vehicle or something that they want, that they're going to pay for, be responsible for, or whatever the case might be, does not need boo boo's permission, especially if you're going to go, if maybe you're buying it for boo boo. Right? You don't have to clear everything, but if you're going to use someone's name, you absolutely should, right? That's my point. So, him coming home with a car, I don't necessarily think is problematic, and I don't know that everything has to have a conversation, especially if somebody works, they're financially responsible, they do their own thing, and you guys do your thing together. Everything doesn't need a conversation, especially if financial abuse is not a situation within the marriage, right? But someone like a Nesto, you almost need to find out when a loaf of bread comes in the house how it was procured, because this guy was a problem. Um, the last posted call solidified the fact that Shirley did not know what Nesto was up to. It showed how he hid info from Shirley pertaining to his activities and only used her for payments and money. Yeah. And maybe just a good time. I think he liked to show her off and make it seem like they had something going on that was really he was phony. When him and Sonia were talking yesterday, and they were talking about being phony, and she says that's business, and he says no, it's being strategic. He said it's being strategic and it's being something else, and then she said something like it's business. I was like, these two, okay. Look, I'm not saying Nesto is Kaiser, just big pic zoom out for a second. What I'm saying is that in that movie, what you thought was at the end was not. It was something completely different. You know what I mean? Like the truth was unveiled. I'm not just talking about Nesto in particular. I'm just talking about like the totality of it. Yeah. I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know we all have our opinions about Nesto. I'm not putting him on a Kaiser Sose, obviously, level. What I'm saying is the whole movie, you thought one thing was going on. By the end of the movie, you find something else is going on. That's my point. Um, Sonia is the only one that believed that, and that's because she wanted to. You know, Sonia is like ridiculous. Um, I wonder what that lady that is the managing agent for that security company is doing now. No. Probably glad we're not talking about her too much. Sonia wants to look at him as a older, nice gentleman. He was far from. She knew he. Lamb, can I help you? Y'all, Lamb got a haircut like a week and a half ago, and you can't tell him nothing. Lamb, stop. Um, Sonia wants to look at him as a gentleman. He was far from, and she found out when he read. She said when she read those warrants, she was trying to figure out what they were talking about. She said she didn't see anything in the warrants that made her. When he said he looked at his warrants and they got him looking like a real monster, a real psychopath. She said, "What warrants are you talking about?" Like she was like, "What are you talking about?" Let me not forget that he was swindling other women out of money. He didn't even need Shirley's funds at the time. I mean, he wasn't so okay. Gail Bickham had major money, right? Um, Gail Bickham, that was some money. And he was dealing with other people too. But Scretchen, that was small money. Someone said Sonia has daddy issues, and that's why she's attached to Nesto, and that's so true. Yeah. Hmm. She got mommy issues worse than she got daddy issues. That's why she hates women. So of course, she found, yeah, it's both. I think she hates it. She doesn't like herself. Well, that definitely requires conversation and a couple of days of me thinking about it. Um, it's not like he bought a TV. He looked at Shirley as less than smart. Yeah. I think she was, yeah, you're right. He has zero respect. Yeah, I can buy that. That's because y'all have financial security and stability in your marriage. That is not the case with a lot of couples. Yeah, I mean, and also we've been together for a long time, and I trust my husband at the end of the day. Um, I just don't. I could not, and I'm a certain age now, but I could not be in something where I have to like be like, okay, where'd you get that? How'd you get that? Like, I would hope most people don't have to operate like that. You know what I'm saying? Or that somebody is out here just running around loosey goosey using your information. Like you get all of a sudden get a bill in the mail and it's got your name on it. That would be weird to me. I mean, oftentimes when we make big purchases, we buy stuff together, like we're together. So we're both in the know about certain things. But if I go decide to go to Neiman's and pick something up, um, you know, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily feel like I have to make a phone call. Watch my husband text me now and be like, yes, you do. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think that that's weird. Um, I feel like it's also weird that he sat up there and bought a car in her name. Like that is that's out of control. That's something that you do. That's something you do together, or I'm picking up the truck, I'm putting it in your name. I ran the numbers. I mean, I think it's totally not a big deal to say, you know what, I ran the numbers and they're going to give you a better interest rate than me. And I want, when I get this car, I think, I want you to put it in your name. Um, I don't know. This is the downfall of dealing with someone who is not your equal. I know that's not even what we're talking about on today, but when you're dealing with someone who financially is not able to step to the table with their own money, their own finances, and their own credit, it's going to be a problem. And it's unfortunate. I mean, Shirley's situation, amongst many others, not to even just pick up on Shirley, but there's been many people. When you deal with someone who is not financially stable, and this goes for men too, but men are usually willing to shoulder that financial burden because men usually sign up as a provider. And they're cool with the fact that you may or may not have a job, you may or may not make the money that they do, and want to be able to provide for you, right? Women, that's not necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know this is not modern, but that's not necessarily our jobs to provide credit for your husband. Okay. That is not your job to provide credit for your husband. I'm sorry. Hello? That's the whole problem in this whole entire thing. And Nesto knew that Shirley's credit was already challenged, and he had a lot of nerve doing what he did. I feel like, Lambo, did you just go in? Ooh. Lambo is acting up today. Anyway, it is not your responsibility in 2026 to shoulder a grown man's credit, okay? Um that's this whole entire problem. He felt like he had the privilege to just use Shirley's name carte blanche and go buy whatever the hell he wanted, and that was okay. Go sign contracts, put stuff in her name, go buy vehicles. The absolute nerve. That's why he picked up another indictment. He deserves that. He deserves that strawberry indictment. He had a lot of nerve to do that. The funds on the being for money. She's not, no. If Sonia were from money, then her dad wouldn't have been doing the same thing as Nesto was doing, buying stuff and putting it in other people's names. And this might not be a popular opinion, but unfortunately for Miss Janice, who seems like she's a very nice lady, she got caught up with Mr. Durham, who probably was about the same as Nesto, and she's sitting up there paying her money on a very nice home, and that man basically low-key swindled it out from underneath her by intermingling it with his shisty ass daughter. Okay. And now she put a lot of money into a house that really probably should be hers. I don't know all the details, the ins and outs of it, but she put a lot of money into a house that she thought that was supposed to be hers, and now has questionable ownership. And that she can blame Chuck Durham for that. You know what I'm saying? And she should have seen the writing on the wall when this man was running around shifting and playing around with ownership with stuff every 5 minutes. Like, that's just not normal. Most of us who own homes or own property are not running around changing ownership every 5 minutes because we're trying to avoid a tax lien, a lawsuit, hide property, all kinds of foolishness. Okay. That's not normal. Okay. Uh, Sonia is shisty like her twin dad. Okay. I mean, I feel sorry for Miss Janice, but Miss Janice, she may have seen the red flags at some point. Thank you, Boo. Um, I've been with Kermit 33 years, and he only knows the last four digits of my social. Okay, you trust no one. I mean, but you know what? He may not even need it. He doesn't need it. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need it. You know what? Because Kermit might be old school, and Kermit handles all the business. And whatever business that you do for yourself, Miss Piggy, like your own personal little Neiman's card or your personal Visa or personal Amex, that's on you. You got your own little. Let me tell you, yeah, girl, that's the old school way. That's the old school way. I'm sorry. Shirley should have been sitting in the front seat of that Bentley, and when his money could not pay for that pawn shop computer, he should have had to walk back to the car and said, "I'll go pick it up next week." I asked him to hold it for. I'm gonna go back and get it tomorrow. Sometimes you don't need to be so quick with that debit card. She should have known. I feel. Look, I hear you, KK and Miss Andre. Um, we're not dragging Miss Janice. All I'm saying is maybe Janice didn't know what type of man she was dealing with, but if she did, then the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Okay? At the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day has to end. Okay? All right. Yeah, I don't know that to be true. Someone threw that out in the comments and I found that to be an interesting thought. So, I want to be clear with a footnote. Fran is not saying that that was the case. It's just a thought that came from the comments that I thought was interesting. If one wants to believe that he did not download it himself or download it from a site or load it from a jump drive or something like that. You know what I mean? If but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, um he's in possession and that's the possession is what is the problem, right? So wait, let me let Lambo out. Lambo jumped one of the gates. Hold on. Whew, okay, you guys. All right, let's see. I feel like hold on. I want to know if there were any more questions. Ooh, were there any questions? What time is it? It's 12 o'clock.
Um, so no independent research of any kind. Please
Oh,
remember to
right.
avoid any publicity that might be out there. Don't allow anybody to talk to you about that or around you about what's occurring. I think. Thank you.
Hold on a second, guys.
So the jury has sent out a note. The note says, "May we take a lunch break now? An hour will be enough."
Oh, okay. What time was that? Okay, so are you guys keeping up with this? I feel like I don't it's like I don't even want to talk about it because I'm so mad. I do think Isaiah killed both of them in cold blood. I don't know why, but that's what my gut tells me. Um I don't know. Okay. How long have they been gone? Like 20 minutes. Okay, they said an hour will be enough.
imagine that has happened.
There might end up being a mistrial. They feel like they have, it's 9 to 10 now. Possession is 9/10 of the law. Yeah. So they don't even have to prove that he's got possession of its illegal material, and that's it. That's all. So anyway, guys, let me shut this one down. If you guys want to come back, I'm going to set up another live. There was a hearing yesterday. Lammy, hush. There was a hearing yesterday for Kelli Marie Bryant. And I mean, it was pre-trial. It was kind, it was pre-trial. But she did plead guilty on her welfare fraud case, but that is the mommy who left her kids in squalor. She's the one who had those kids living by themselves for like 2-3 years in Pontiac, Michigan. She was in court yesterday. And I'm trying to think of what else was going on. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right, well, let's just look at it now, and then we'll just talk about it now, and I'll just cut it off at the end, and then I'll put it up as a video by itself. Let me find it. Lamb hush. He was just outside for a whole entire hour. Do you hear how he does me? Hold on, let me give you guys this link. This is the link to the transcript. I know you guys said that you want it, so you want me to replay it? We'll do that. You said Portia? No, that's Lammy. Portia is so small. Portia is like 15 pounds. Lammy's the one. Lammy's, you hear how he's doing? This is like, I got a cute haircut. I'm handsome. You hear him? Okay, give me just a second, Lamb. Okay. Bless you. Okay. Oh my God. Lamb, stop. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I could not find my video. Okay, here we go. You guys remember her, right? Girl, ma'am is not doing well. Now, this will be interesting. Now, it's not quite 12 minutes. This is going to go a little bit fast, but this is the mom who's got 3 felony counts of child abuse. This is Kelli Marie Bryant. You guys have to remember her. This is the Pontiac mom. Everybody was outraged around this time last year. I feel like it was around Valentine's Day last year. So it's almost a whole year ago. She spent almost about 6 months in jail in Oakland County. And she basically left her kids to fend for themselves. She was sending door dashes and food deliveries, but she was sending bare minimum groceries, and these kids had to learn everything from a very young age. You're talking about two girls and 1 boy, all in puberty, no sanitary napkins, clean underwear, working washing machine, adequate food instruction, ability to even know how to cook. They were like I'm talking probably bare basics. I don't even know what they would do if she probably had dropped off raw chicken. I'm going to just venture to guess these kids probably didn't know how to cook. They definitely didn't know how to clean. They did not know how to bathe. There was feces, urine all over the place. There was no adequate bedding. There was no sanitary napkins. They said it was absolutely a freaking nightmare. The kids were like primal. They were primal. Like it was like maybe they had lived in the jungle somewhere with no modern anything and no awareness to modern facility. Like these kids knew nothing. I don't even know if they had TV. They did have phones, but I don't think they knew how to read. I think they knew how to get to make a phone call or answer a call, but the kids unfortunately did not have basic skills up to par for their age, and they were definitely kind of a little bit regressed, and they were in close proximity for all those years. These are girls going through getting menstrual cycles and things like that with no, I'm sure they probably were like horrified. I mean, these are girls that went from like 8, 9 years old to like damn 12 years old. Girls get their period. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have toilet paper. So they didn't have sanitary napkins. This woman is awful. So she's got, just to give you an idea, we'll look at this hearing, and then, so it seems like some of you may not know this story. We'll go back in time to the first video where they uncovered, there was a cleaning crew that we saw on Facebook who went to actually do the emptying out of this townhouse that the kids were staying in, for you to get an idea. But she has 3 felony child abuse charges. And because she was also getting food stamps, it was a separate case, but she had 3 felony welfare fraud cases as well. She's already pled guilty to the welfare fraud cases. And on this day, she was supposed to get sentenced. Um, she went ahead and pled guilty. There's no deal in place or anything like that. It was a non-negotiated plea of her just pleading guilty. And, because there was no point in fighting it. You weren't there, and the kids weren't getting all the stamps. Okay. The kids were malnourished and were not being well taken care of, and you weren't even living in the home. So she went ahead and pled guilty to it. And then she still got this other case. So that's what they're going to be talking about at this moment. Okay. All right, here we go.
Yes, sir.
Calling case number 2025-293-649-FC, the People versus Kelli Bryant.
Thank you. And you want to would you call them both, please, sir?
Yes.
I've got
I'm
one
also
person.
calling case number 2025-293-653-FH, the People versus Kelli Bryant.
Thank you, sir. For the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Kanika Barron's on behalf of the people.
Thank you.
Did you see how he called the case? Hold on a second. He held up that clipboard and looked at the judge like, okay, hold on.
25-293-649-FC, the People versus Kelli Bryant.
Thank you. And you want to would you call them both, please, sir?
Yes.
I've got
I'm
one
also
person.
calling case number 2025-293-653-FH, the People versus Kelli Bryant.
He looked at her dead in her face like, okay, that's what you want.
Thank you, sir. For the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Kanika Barron's on behalf of the people.
Thank you, ma'am. For the defendant, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Celia Hernandez on behalf of Ms. Bryant. She's with me in court,
Thank you. Ma'am, could you please state your name for the record?
Kelly Bryant.
Thank you, ma'am. I have this matter, it was originally scheduled for two things today. It was scheduled for sentencing on the case ending in 653, the welfare fraud charges. And then it was scheduled for a final pretrial on the child abuse cases, the files ending in 649. With regard to sentencing, I'm advised that a pre-sentence investigation referral was not made. Has it been made now?
Yes.
Okay.
I promise.
All right. So have we talked to the department about timing?
Yep, we're all set.
You have a sentencing date.
March 12th.
Thank you very much. And that works for everybody?
Yes, Your Honor, we picked it all together.
Thank you. All right. So I'm going to expect that I'll have an opportunity to review the PSI. So will you. I'll take additions, corrections, deletions first, and then I'll hear from everybody in terms of the welfare fraud case. With regard to 3 counts of child abuse in the first degree, we have a trial date of March 2nd.
Yes,
Is there any reason why that is not a good date? It's a good date from the court's perspective.
No.
Okay.
So I did email the court separately and just to explain why we didn't have an answer as to deviation request
Yes.
yet. So
It was just made, correct?
It was just made.
Okay.
They need some more time, so that's not on them, but I do think I put together a pretty comprehensive, request for the prosecutor's office, which Ms. Ferenczi has promised that they'll consider. So what I would like to do, and, we had some further discussions too, because I know there were some statements made before about, what was possible and what might not be possible. But
Right.
We're looking at everything.
Okay.
We're looking at everything. So I would like to, if we could have another final pretrial, but keep the trial date. If we can't resolve it, then we'll be ready to go to trial. So
All right.
I'm not asking the court to adjourn anything.
All right. So, and I'm seeing you by your nod, you'll be ready for trial as well. That you don't anticipate issues that would delay that.
No,
That's
not
that's
at
a
all.
good date from the court's perspective.
It is, Your Honor.
And we're counting on it. There are
Yes,
going to be
Your Honor.
young victims, I'm assuming, called to testify.
Yes,
So I want to be really cognizant of getting their testimony timely.
No, and we're very familiar with the case and the facts and what testimony would be, because there's enough, I guess like a companion case, if you will. So there will be no request for adjournments unless,
Okay.
I don't know, something strange happens.
Okay, but no,
Basically, this judge is, I'm not going to say she's over it, but I think they're just trying to clear this out because, at the end of the day, this is not like a murder mystery. This lady had 3 kids. The families involved said that Kelly was lying to everybody in the preliminary exam. The family that was interviewed was like, Kelly said the kids were here. Then you talk to the other people, they said, well, Kelly said the kids were there. Kelly was telling everybody that everybody else had the kids. People did not see the kids, and she was lying to everybody, and she was out living her life, managing her business, and the kids were by themselves. The fathers, I think there's 2 fathers involved. The fathers said that they were denied access to their kids, and when they asked where their kids were, she would lie. So that's basically what law enforcement said when they interviewed the people who were told who had the kids. Then they would interview the next person. Everybody had the same type of story, but it was all basically Kelly lying about the whereabouts to multiple people about where these kids were. So this is not, fortunately the kids have survived and they are in treatment and counseling and getting better. And they're with their, I think 2 are with the grandparents and 1 kid is actually with their father now. And probably receiving lots of services and things to try to get themselves back together. So who finally discovered? Well, you know how it goes. Someone didn't pay the rent. Miss Kelly did not pay. I think she had Section 8 and she did not make a payment. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, they should be doing an inspection if it's Section 8. I think there were some issues with the inspections or something like that. She was getting some sort of rental subsidy, and maybe it was because of the inspection, the rents had not been paid, something hadn't been paid. The landlord went over there, was calling. I don't know if she had just gave up at that moment, but she had been moving right along for a long time paying. And all of a sudden she stopped paying, and the landlord basically went, to go and check on his property and see if they were still occupying the property, and goes in, and lo and behold, it's a fucking nightmare over there to the house. Hold on. I'm sure you guys have seen this lady before. She might just look different now. Y'all don't remember the House of Horrors? Hold on. Girl, it's poop
We
everywhere.
going through. This is a house that she kept them kids at, y'all.
Poop and pee
And I gotta
stains
clean it.
everywhere.
Oh God.
Did y'all want to take the stove and the refrigerator out or what?
That stove and that refrigerator need to come out.
I'm gonna say that, well, y'all can take it out, y'all want us to take it out.
Where we gonna put it at once we take it out, sir?
Lay it right there, yeah.
Lay it right there?
Yeah.
It was put down in the chat. At this, they had to rip out everything, the toilets, the everything. I don't even know if that is just disgusting. I don't even think this is the worst of it. Let me see if I could find. This was that live video that was on Facebook, but if you recall, I think there were like maggots in the refrigerator. It was absolutely disgusting. I'll find a better from when they first went in. What that house looked like. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find. Let's go back to the hearing. I'll find the footage of where they initially go into the house. But yeah, the kids were fending for themselves. I know it's hard to believe that kids were basically living on their own, but they were living on their own. They feel like, and this is still like there's no firm number, but it's anywhere from 2 to 3 years. And she was basically calling them on a cell phone. And she was having food delivered like periodically, but it wasn't like enough food. Also, the kids didn't have enough skills to really know how to cook. And I think the boy was 12. By the end, he was 15. The girls were young, like 8 and 9. Crazy.
Nothing anticipated. All right. And you have put together a packet or information, you're asking for a deviation
Yes.
in terms of the charge or the kilobrew, or what are we doing?
So either or.
Okay.
So there's a request. I don't think it's an unreasonable request.
Okay.
But, if the prosecutor's office cannot entertain a charge reduction, then I did, make an alternative request for a sentencing hearing.
All right. How long realistically do you think your office needs to meaningfully consider that and give a set response?
Yes, Your Honor. We received it yesterday, so I would ask for, if we could get a pretrial date. I don't know if it works for the court schedule or for the county schedule, perhaps at least like the last week of February or the week prior. I think we'd be able to have an answer.
Wait 1 second.
Or the kilobrew, or what are we doing?
So either or.
Okay.
So there's a request.
And we're counting on it. There are
Yes,
going to be
Your Honor.
young victims, I'm assuming, called to testify.
Yes,
So
Your Honor.
I want to be really cognizant of getting their testimony timely.
No, and we're very familiar with the case and the facts and what testimony would be, because there's enough, I guess like a companion case, if you will. So there will be no request for adjournments unless,
Okay.
I don't know, something strange happens.
Okay, but nothing anticipated. All right. And you have put together a packet or information, you're asking for a deviation
Yes.
in terms of the charge or the kilobrew, or what are we doing?
So either or.
Okay.
So there's a request. I don't think it's an unreasonable request.
Okay.
But, if the prosecutor's office cannot entertain a charge reduction, then I did, make an.
So she's asking for a charge reduction. So from felony child abuse to something else. I wonder, what is that lady's name in Oakland? She's the district attorney, the lady with the the blonde hair. What is her name? Oakland, DA, Michigan. She doesn't seem like she's playing with her. That lady was mad. Karen McDonald, baby, when this lady Kelly first got charged, she was so disgusted with the way those children were treated. She damn near started crying about these kids. I don't know that Karen McDonald is going to entertain a charge reduction on that felony child abuse. She's lucky she's not getting, that these kids actually were not dead somewhere. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to entertain that. Maybe they're trying to get a deal so she doesn't actually have to go to trial. I'm not sure. Because what is there to litigate? We know that you left your kids by themselves to fend for themselves.
Alternative request for a sentencing agreement.
All right. How long realistically do you think your office needs to meaningfully consider that and give a set response?
Yes, Your Honor. We received it yesterday, so I would ask for, if we could get a pretrial date. I don't know if it works for the court schedule or for the county schedule, perhaps at least like the last week of February or the week prior. I think we'd be able to have an answer by then.
It would be the last week.
Yeah, let's add it to the last week in February. Let's add it to just the Thursday call. Do you see any reason?
Yes.
Oh, you sure do. Yes, we sure do. All right. Yes. All right. Let's pick a date and time that works for everybody who needs access to the proceeding.
Wednesday, February 25th at 1:15.
May I just double check?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm available.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Karen Dongo, when you get your eyes on your calendar.
Could we do it at 1:15 as it is?
Is that still, is it child death review again?
Yeah.
I hate to miss, that's such important work. And the child death review is one time a month. I left early today
That's
and I
fine,
don't
ma'am.
like to
I'll
do
just,
that.
I'll just let them know that I'll be a little bit late.
Could we,
That's fine.
would you, I'd appreciate that. I'd
That's
appreciate that.
Unless we can do it on the 26th in the afternoon. I don't have any.
Our crib call's already huge.
Thank you.
Oh,
All right,
okay,
Crim
that's
call
fine.
is huge. It's not going to accommodate it, and I want to make everybody's life workable.
That's fine.
So let's do it on Wednesday. Let's say 1:15. And you said, is that the 25th? 1:30?
25th?
Yes. Wednesday, February 25th at 1:30.
So what does that mean in terms of, is it adult treatment court?
Yes, Joe.
So they've got I'm putting them behind a little bit.
No, you're not. I'm just
Okay.
part of the review.
Which judge are you working?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not a problem. We do the team meeting from 1:30 to 2:30.
okay,
So I would probably just be missing part of that.
all right. And do they have written reports that you, I'm not trying to disadvantage anybody, but I don't want to, I left early today and I hate that.
No, it's, I participate, but I'm not, they can still review the reports.
Okay.
Without me there. So there's a whole team, so.
All right,
It's not a huge deal. And if there's anything, I can always email them so they have that for notes or whatever. So.
very good. I will see you for this will be the final pretrial. So anything that you think needs to be talked about on that date, let's talk about it on February 25th at 1:30. I received a report from pretrial supervision. No issues, that she is compliant in terms of doing the daily supervision check-ins as required. Is she employed?
She's still looking, Your Honor, so she's not getting a response and she's not getting any callbacks. It's very difficult, and I know, all she wants is to have a job. I'm gonna be, I speak to her often, so she's still not employed, Your Honor.
There's young people out there getting jobs.
I think the problem is that when they, no. I think the problem is that when she submits the applications, they check into who the person is, and, this comes up on a background check. It also comes up if you Google her name. And so I suspect that that's why I will tell the court that the most, the situation where I have.
I mean, yeah. I mean, people may recognize her as soon as she walks in. Um, yeah. Those are not necessarily, look, those are all real life circumstances that happen, especially if you have pending charges, felony child abuse. Now, she hasn't been adjudicated guilty, and there's no company that's going to tell you that they're not hiring you based on pending charges, because that can be problematic for them. But you can make you're allowed to make decisions on who you want to work for you. That may just not be, that might not be a criteria that you're going to say, well, that's the reason why I'm not hiring you. But maybe because she hasn't had a stable work history for the past year, any of those things. I don't know. But and she may also not be qualified for the job. There's many reasons to turn someone down outside of the fact of them having pending charges. But at the end of the day, you know exactly why you're not hiring the person. But yeah, the judge doesn't seem to want to understand, but come on, you've got to know. With all of this technology, people know exactly who is sitting right in front of them, and they have a right to not chart to hire that person.
Clients
I
that
wouldn't
can't
I wouldn't
find
hire Kelly Marie Bryant.
employment, the ones who have
She's
the
not good
hardest-
for business. Do you imagine you're coming in to get a hamburger and she's behind the thing? The lady with the felony child abuse from Pontiac? Hell no.
time finding employment are the ones who have pending cases, no matter what they are.
I can't fathom an Arby's is gonna say, no, thank
It's
you.
because they don't know if somebody's gonna become incarcerated. So that's why, that's my experience for 20 years, Your Honor. She looks for employment every day. There's nothing that she would like more to be out and employed. She's always been employed.
All right, we'll see you February 25th at 1:30. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Court is in recess.
She's disgusting. I don't Kelly she's like Kelly is needs to find some sort of online work where yeah, Arby's is not hiring her. There's no way. There's no McDonald's, none of these places are hiring her. She's been all over the news. She's been an internet sensation. People are not fucking with her, okay? Hold on one second. So for those of you who do not know this case, hold on. Did I pull this up? Y'all, my dogs are doing the most right now. Hold on a second. Let's watch these two first. We'll watch her arraignment. We're gonna have to get to Miss Ma'am in Florida later. But it's just hard to even say. It's really disgusting, and I don't even know what to say. It is very distressing. It's awful. I feel so bad for these kids. Let's go to this one first.
But first, the mother of the 3 kids abandoned for years in a Pontiac home, now facing 3 charges of first-degree child abuse. Thank you for joining us. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Simon Shaquette. We continue to follow this heartbreaking case. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald announcing charges today, saying the 3 children suffered unimaginable abuse.
And just hours ago, we watched as employees.
They had to show up in damn spacesuits. Can you believe this? Look at this. They had to look at this truck. They brought the rescue wagon. And look at these suits these guys got on. He's got an oxygen mask.
Employees from the Oakland County Sheriff's Department cleaned out the home the kids were locked in for years. Those employees wearing hazmat suits to do the job.
7 News Detroit reporter Sarah Michaels is live in Pontiac with those.
We talked about this once before. I feel like over here, we just remember that book, Flowers in the Attic? Remember that book with the brother and sister that were locked up for years together? It was absolutely, some of you, if you're my age or a little older or a little younger, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that book may have transcended time. Baby.
Those new developments. Sarah?
Glenda, Simon, we are told that for nearly 5 years, 3 children lived abandoned inside of this Pontiac home, surrounded by mold and feces. Well, today we learned that the mother who allegedly created this nightmare could face up to life in prison.
This is the most serious charge for child abuse, and if convicted, Ms. Bryant could face a sentence of up to life in prison.
Wednesday, Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald charging 34-year-old KELLI MARIE BRYANT with 3 counts of first-degree child abuse.
The 3 children in this case suffered unimaginable abuse and neglect over a long period of time.
It is alleged that the children, 2 sisters, ages 12 and 13, and their brother, age 15, lived in this Pontiac home, abandoned for nearly 5 years. They were discovered during a wellness check for the mother this past Friday. McDonald shared that when police performed the wellness check, they were horrified to find anyone living in these conditions. Feces, mold, and trash covering the home.
The children were afraid to come out of their hiding places and to speak with the police. Police had to repeatedly advise the children that they were there to help and they were safe.
When we came back to the home today, we found Sheriff's Department employees wearing hazmat suits, working to clean the unit out. McDonald said the children would text mom when they needed food. She would periodically drop some off at the front door. She told the kids to never answer the door or to leave the house. We're told the children were covered in feces themselves when officers came into the home Friday. Today, they are staying with their grandfather.
So fast forward, this is me talking today, January 29th, 2026. When they brought the kids to whatever the safe house was where they ended up going to, these kids didn't know how to use the bathroom. Like they had to be taught like basics, how to take a shower. I guess maybe the boy knew possibly, but it had been so long. They needed to be instructed on how to take baths, how to wash, how to use the toilet, how to brush their teeth, fixing their hair. Do you imagine their hair was probably just matted? She didn't do shit for those kids but drop off food periodically and pay the rent.
And they are continuing to receive physical as well as mental care.
All 3 children received immediate medical attention at a local hospital, and they were interviewed.
I mean, these kids are not okay. You know what I'm saying? They hadn't really had any interaction with their mom other than the phone for 5 years. So the little one was 7, 8, and 10. And she's still texting them. They had phones. That's weird. You know, the download is going to be, she's done. Do you imagine? So let's say they take mom's phone, which you know they did. Then they take the kids' phones. Those messages, baby, she's done. She's done. No, they don't always do. I lived, you know, I think it's up to the discretion of the landlord. Some landlords do that. They want to come and, you know, they want to see what's going on in their property, but they also want to know, do you need anything? Does anything need to be fixed? Anything like that. But I rented someone's house once. I rented like basically a duplex, and they never came over. They never, if I needed something, call. Otherwise, girl, that's it. But on the other token, I think she may have had rental subsidies, so that's a whole nother thing. But she's despicable. I paid my rent. I never heard from those people. Never heard from them. They didn't hear from me until I needed something. If I needed something, they were over within 24 to 48 hours, depending on the, you know what I mean? When you pay your rent, people don't bother you. Hello? When, you know, these kids could have still been in there had she been paying the rent. We we don't know how this would have ended up, just to be honest. Some just might do it because they've had off the chain renters and they do it for everybody. Because of a few, they do it for everyone. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm sure we have this whole press conference. We can listen to
shared information about how all of this alleged abuse started inside of this home back in 2019. That information is coming up in an hour at 6. For now, reporting live in Pontiac, Sarah Michaels, 7 News Detroit.
Thank goodness the children have some help. Sarah, thank you for the update.
The kids were living in a real-life nightmare.
The charges are 3 counts.
I feel like you guys have to remember this. This was remember they gave her didn't they give her like an $80 million bond? It was something crazy. And they snatched her wig slap off, and that's what they needed to.
Carol, I know you've had an opportunity to go into a private confidential breakout room to confer with your client regarding the charges in this matter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Anyway, I have a whole playlist of this, but anyway, she went to court and let me see. So yeah, she went to court. Her trial day is coming. Kelly's day is coming soon. I do think she's going to jail. I don't think I don't know what she's trying to get. I don't know what her lawyer is trying to cook up for her. I don't know that she has made any progress outside of maybe just staying out of trouble. And I don't know if she's getting counseling. I don't know what Kelly has going on at this moment that is she's going to try to redeem herself with society. But these kids, have been harmed, and she had plenty of family who could have tried to help her and who were interested in seeing the kids, and she withheld the kids from their fathers. She withheld the kids from biological family. She stole benefits. She robbed them of school and learning and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know if the judge is going to be lenient with her or not. She's not even responsible for them anymore. I actually think, if I remember correctly, I need to look at the dockets, but I think she actually signed over parental care. I think she signed over her rights. If I'm not mistaken, she may have actually signed over the kids. So I don't even know if she has any claim over these children anymore. This judge really doesn't have to spare her at all. I think she's doing things to show she's making changes in their best interest. But the sad thing is that she rejected them so long ago. She left them in squalor. She left them unattended to. And I mean, the fact that she signed over rights to them, it's almost like that's the least you could have done, and just, what I'm saying? She gave up her responsibility to those kids pretty much at a very young age. It's just awful, right? Yeah, she's just awful. The fact that she gave them up on paper, I'm not impressed. You gave them up kind of anyway, and you're not even trying to want to do better. These kids are going to have to deal with for the rest of their lives how they were left to fend for themselves. And then on top of it, you sign them away. She's just disgusting. She's absolutely gross. So I really hope that the judge doesn't give her, I hope she just gets what she deserves. I'm not wishing her anything extra. She just needs to get what she deserves. She doesn't deserve to be out and about enjoying her life when these little kids were denied love, school, caring, hygiene, decent meals, nutrition, playtime, exercise, air in their lungs, clean clothes, damn underwear, toilet paper and sanitary napkins. She just doesn't she really deserves to get what she gets for felony child abuse. That's what she deserves. So I hope that's what she gets. Anyway, we've been keeping our eye on this case since last year. So if you want to see more about it, just hit the playlist. There's a Kelli Marie Bryant playlist. So go check it out. She's disgusting and she deserves whatever time she gets. That's it. That's all. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to let you guys go. If there's something else you want me to cover, let me know down in the comments. I'll be back a little bit later. I got to do school pickup in like an hour or so. After that, I'm going to come back. If there's something else, Nesto, you want to talk about, let me know. But like I said, I dropped you guys some of the links. If you want me to replay the transcript, I guess I could do it this afternoon, but I mean, it's up to you guys. You guys let me know. If you want to listen to the transcript, we can do it. I almost feel like Friday night is better, but if you guys want me to do it when I come back from school pickup, I can. Just let it run, but maybe we'll just do it tomorrow night. You guys let me know. If there's something else you want me to talk about, let me know. And I have a couple other things that I want to talk about anyway. So either way, I'll be back later on this afternoon. Okay. All right, you guys, take care. You'll tune into whatever. You guys are so sweet. She had already signed them away physically, emotionally, and psychologically. She is a sorry excuse. Like, it just makes me mad as a mother, a woman like that. I mean, everybody is not perfect, and some people do suffer with mental illness. I just think she is horrible and despicable. It's awful. And those poor kids, they were living like animals. They were living worse than animals because animals aren't always covered in feces and urine and all kinds of nasty shit, right? They are when you abuse them and leave them in cages and stuff like that. These kids were just like the whole townhouse was a cage. And then you got kids at a very formative time in their life. Do you imagine these girls? I think it's been uncovered now. It's been, the bulk of it was like 2 to 3 years, but even at 5 years, these kids have been alone for a long time, fending for themselves. And it was absolutely disgusting. I just think of these girls getting their menstruals and having cramps and their differences with their bodies. They're getting breasts. They don't have any adequate clothing. I mean, it's just terrible. Did they know how to operate the heater? Were they cold? You know what I'm saying? Like, so many questions. Just, she's disgusting. She doesn't deserve. And if you guys recall, she actually, so when she was in jail, it's like, don't get me started on Kelli Marie Bryant, but when she was in jail, do you guys remember she reached out to the kids? Do you guys remember that she actually reached out to the kids and they were listening to her jail phone calls? Hold on a second. Let me find it. She got in trouble. She had to go back to court because she reached out to the kids and the judge was like, what did you do? Hold on. Hold on. Y'all. It's like, do not get me started on doing. Bro, it makes me so, it is triggering. It's awful. She's despicable. And the messed up thing to me is that she only got, they took away her privileges for a period of time. Let me see. Hold on. Where is the hearing? Okay, hold on. Is this it? Girl, Kelly. Sis is in trouble. And this is why. Well, okay, hold on. Here we go. All right. This is from Karen McDonald's office. This is a press release from this morning. Can I click on this? So this was released this morning. Oakland County prosecutor asked court to revoke Kelli Bryant's communication privileges. Pontiac, Michigan. Oakland County prosecutor Karen D. McDonald filed a motion Friday in the 50th District Court to revoke Kelli Bryant's communication privileges for violating the court order directing her to have no contact with her children or caregiver. Jail records show that Bryant called the children's caregiver 10 times. 10 times. Y'all, why is she calling? She's stupid. Jail records show you hadn't been to see the kids in 3 to 5 years, baby. What do you want now? What do you want? You hadn't been to see the kids in years, but now you calling off the chain? Do you see how manipulative this woman is? Jail records show that Bryant called the children's caregiver 10 times between March 8th and March 12th, 2025, to discuss her children and her criminal case. Bryant also had other inmates call the children's caregiver on her behalf. You'll have to click into it, boo. There's some technical issues going on right now, but I posted it so y'all can see. If you want to read along, go ahead and click into my post, okay, boo? Bryant is held to Oakland County Jail. Bryant is held in Oakland County Jail on $50,000 cash bond. She was charged with 3 counts of first-degree child abuse and 3 counts of welfare fraud after the 3 children were discovered living alone in a refuse-filled Pontiac townhome for several years. Kelli has clearly and repeatedly violated the judge's order not to contact the victims and their caregiver, said Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald. That order is in place for an important reason, to protect the victims. The decision to ask that an inmate's communication be restricted isn't made lightly, but Bryant was repeatedly disobeying court orders, and by doing so, further endangered the victims. Let me just park for a second. So this is me talking now. This is another example of jail record. Okay. She's on the jail. Now, Fran, can you get the jail? No, I mean, I don't know what Oakland does, but she's over there on her jail. So to think that they're some people think they're special, they listen to everybody's calls. Everybody's calls are being monitored and listened to. This trick thought nobody was going to be listening and collecting information. She went right over there to the jail, wanted to bother people. They're trying to get reacquainted with the babies, trying to get the babies situated and settled. They've been displaced. Their mom is fugazi, and she's sitting up there calling 10 times and has other inmates calling from their PIN numbers. That's all she was doing. I can't find the hearing. I need to find the hearing because the judge was like, do it again. Do it one more time, and you go see how we're going to restrict your call privileges. But you do this one more time, you're going to see how this is going to go. Okay. The judge laid into her. I have to find it. This is awful. Can you believe this? She's doing some sort of a treatment now. I hope she goes to jail. I mean, she has nothing. Look, she doesn't have a job. I believe she's either in the process or has signed over her children. What else does she need to be out here doing? There's nothing else out here to do. She doesn't have a career. She signed over the kids, sent her behind to jail. She's not going to do anything but get herself into some more trouble. Someone like her is going to end up pregnant again and have another baby on her back a year from now. So the best thing for her to be is in jail, off the streets, focusing on what she did wrong, and not in a position for her to lay down and make more children that she's going to abuse. That's just my opinion. I know that might not be a popular opinion, but that's just what I think. She needs to be off the streets and pay for her crime. Granted, the motion would prohibit Bryant from using the telephone, tablet, and video communication devices while in jail. She should have to work to pay some child support. I'm going to say that. Baby. All right, let me see. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find when she went to court, because that was a doozy. Okay, Kelly. Was this it? I think this is it here. Okay, let's get into it and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Okay. Okay. All right.
Number 250216 Marie Bryant, case number 250216 FY.
Good afternoon, Kanika Barency on behalf of the people.
And good afternoon, Your Honor. Cecilia Karen Dongo up here on behalf of Kelly Bryant. She's present via Zoom, Your Honor. We have no objection to Zoom.
Thank you. Ms. Bryant, would you state your name for the record, please?
Kelli Marie Bryant.
Thank you. Ms. Barency, this was people's motion to restrict communication privileges from the jail.
That's correct, Your Honor. As I noted in my motion that was filed last week, the people became aware that defendant had been calling the minor victim's caregiver on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day, which is in violation of the custody order that was dated March 7th, 2025. I do not believe that defense is contesting the fact that these calls were made. The people do have witnesses on standby if the court does wish to hear testimony. But that is the reason that this motion was filed.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Karen Dongo?
Yes, Your Honor, just ever so briefly. So it's my client on the phone call, so that's not really the issue here. The issue that I brought up in my answer, so the people did provide, I want to say about 20 phone calls. There's one single phone call, which was actually prior to the court holding the bond hearing on the 7th. So it was on the 7th in the morning where the caregiver volunteered some information to Ms. Bryant. Ms. Bryant didn't ask, on none of the phone calls, Ms. Bryant is asking about the children. The issue that we're having is that Ms. Bryant, after the court hearing, so the court held a hearing, made its oral ruling, and then Ms. Bryant nor myself were ever provided with a written order. I don't believe that Ms. Bryant, we weren't provided with the custody order, nor a pretrial release order, nor anything else in writing. Ms. Bryant was under the impression that she was not allowed to talk about the children, inquire about the children, not even ask how they were doing, and she didn't do any of that, Your Honor. Had Ms. Bryant or myself been provided with a written order, I had to go and listen to the hearing again when Ms. Ferenczi called me and indicated that she was filing this motion, because I didn't have recollection of that part of the order. I knew that Ms. Bryant couldn't have contact with the children or ask about them or, try to pass messages or anything like that, and she didn't do that. I did listen to the recording back. I spoke to Ms. Bryant. I emailed the court asking for the order because there was no bond order ever provided to her or myself. I was mailed out a copy that I received a few days ago from the JIS printout, so the register of actions basically that had the bond conditions on them, and I myself provided them to Ms. Bryant yesterday. Neither one of us have still received a custody order or a pretrial release order. And so my position is to revoke her all of her privileges at the jail, her communications privileges, with what I believe is a defective notice in writing, and B, she's never engaged in any kind of inquiry or anything in regards to the children. I don't believe it's appropriate. I don't think the people, unless I'm missing something, are disputing the factual statements that I'm making in regards to the content of the phone calls, nor do I think they have any specific knowledge that Ms. Bryant was actually served with any of the orders. So I'm asking, and I'm just going to tell the court, if I had heard the courts, I know exactly what the court said now because I went and listened to it again. If I had known, I would have had a conversation with Ms. Bryant, but I would also have addressed it immediately, because part of the problem is when the court, the court reduced the bond has to be posted somehow. Those were the contents, I want to say, of 95% of the conversations, including the calls that were made by other inmates. Those were only in regards to her bond. So the statements made by the people, and quite frankly, every day in the media since this came about, that Ms. Bryant is somehow reaching out to the children, trying to talk to them, it's just simply not true. So at this time, I'm asking both that the court allow for contact with the caregiver unrelated to the children, which I don't think the people can say that my client have ever uttered a word about her children, and at least on the recordings I was provided. And they monitor those calls, so they know if she talks about the children or if the caregiver talks about the children, which is not the case. That you allow that type of contact with the caregiver because it is the media for her bond issues, but also that you allow her privileges to remain intact. I don't think it's appropriate to revoke them at this time. I did provide her with the order. I don't believe there's been any further reaching out or nothing like that pending the court's decision today.
One thing before I go back to Ms. Ferenczi, it is customary for the court to enter the orders and restrictions from the bench. And the court reviewed them on the record, reviewed them at the time of the hearing, so I don't think there was anything unclear about what the court indicated. But Ms. Ferenczi, any response?
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that. Judge Walker, I agree with that statement. You provided the defendant with actual notice on 3/7/2025. You were very clear in your holding, in your ruling. You stated that there should be no contact. Your exact words are no contact with alleged victims, including no personal contact, no reaching out to parties who have control of those children, no contact with them whatsoever. Ms. Bryant had actual notice that day. Your Honor, there is a reason for these no contact orders. As the court is well aware, there are also reasons for bond, which includes the assurance that the defendant appear in court and that the defendant comply with court orders. At best, defendant is skirting the line of compliance here, Your Honor. She didn't understand, she didn't know. That is simply not a defense, especially as she had actual knowledge and actual notice on 3/7/2025 with what the court ruled on the record. Your Honor, my concern is twofold. First, that Ms. Bryant defied the court's order on 3/7/2025 with the no contact, but also is now circumventing Oakland County Jail's rules and having other inmates contact on her behalf, which is in violation of their rules as well. Your Honor, there are multiple reasons for, and I'm not going to belabor the record, the importance of no contact orders. Victim preservation is first and foremost to protect the alleged victims from potential intimidation, harassment, or further harm by the defendant. These victims have gone through trauma and have been going through trauma for years. It only benefits everyone involved to have separation, which is why this court put in place the no contact order with both the victims and also the people that are charged to protect them right now. And I do believe that this is a clear, on its face violation of the custody order that the court put in place on 3/7. And I do believe that the request to revoke these communication privileges is valid, and I ask for the court to do so.
Now, the court has not heard any of these recordings, so I am relying on those who have reviewed them. So in
Yeah.
any of the recordings, has there been any attempt to contact or have conversation with the children?
Your Honor, if I may respond, there has not been any attempt by Ms. Bryant to make direct contact with the victims. There has been one call that I believe Ms. Kirandongo just referenced, where there was a discussion about appointments.
And Iana, if I may clarify, the caregiver brought it, they weren't even talking, they were talking about something completely unrelated. The caregiver mentioned that, well, I guess I'm not going to say it on the record. I think the court knows what, but mentioned an appointment.
Okay.
Didn't
Let me
say
just be
where it
clear-
was.
Let me just be clear about one thing, because at the time the court imposed these conditions, the purpose was to protect the integrity of the judicial process, make sure there was no tampering with any witnesses of any sort. And the court at that time did not even know exactly who the caregiver was. But the intention to protect that was to make sure that there was no contact with the victims or anyone who's caring for the alleged victims, so that there is no attempt to influence potential testimony in this case. So that was one of the reasons for that.
And there's
Right
been none
now-
of that, yeah. Sorry.
Right now, the types of communication that the defendant has is what, through tablet?
That
Yes,
is
and
my
the
understanding.
phone. Tablet and the phone. Correct.
Okay. Any other forms of communication?
Not that I'm aware.
Not that I'm aware either.
Okay. Is the potential there for the jail to restrict contact to specific phone numbers?
I don't believe so, Your Honor, but I'm gonna tell the court if the court is, she understands now, and if the court is not modifying that, I am telling the court that there's not gonna be any other issues. There will not be any other issues. They can monitor her from now until eternity, and she will not violate the court's orders. So,
I'm
but
not
I don't think there's an
understanding
ability
why-
to
I'm
do
not
that.
understanding why other inmates have made calls. That is just baffling. to me.
It would explain it on the calls, Your Honor. So Ms. Bryant is housed, first she was housed in the clinic for a number of time, for a number of weeks, I believe. Then she's housed in a single man cell. They allow her to exit the cell, I believe, once a day. And the phone calls that were made by other inmates were in regards to the bond. So whether there had been, I think one of them had asked if the caregiver had spoken to another family member of Ms. Bryant's, because it had to do with, you know, where she was going to be when she got out from jail. And all of the other calls were in regards to either reaching out to a bail bondsman, inquiring on whether the caregiver had received a phone number for, you know, a specific bail bondsman. That was the gist of it. Those calls, I think the longest one was 1 minute and 4 seconds. All the other ones were much shorter. There were no discussions about anything else. And the reason it was done, you know, and I don't know, I know you can't do three-way calling. There were no three-way calling. But the reasons that was done is because Ms. Bryant couldn't get out of her cell. And it was after, you know, the court had modified her bond and you know, my client is trying to raise the money to post bond. So there was no discussions either, but that was the reason. And I'm being, you know, as forthcoming I can with the court. It's pretty clear from the phone calls that that's the reason too.
At this point, it appears to me that there was a flagrant violation of the court order. I am confident that you have now reviewed this with her, Ms. Kirandongo, with your client, Ms. Bryant, so there would be no additional such calls. However, the violation is a flagrant one. So I am going to temporarily suspend her jail communication privileges for a period of 1 week, because I want to make sure that she understands the court orders are exactly that. They are not suggestions. They are not hopes that you will comply, but I expect strict compliance with the no contact provisions. So I am going to indicate there will be a 1 week suspension of any jail communication. And then Ms. Ferenczi, if in communication with the jail, there can be follow-up to make sure there are no other violations, because if there is another violation, the court will schedule an emergency hearing within 24 hours of receiving notice of a violation.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Your Honor, is it at all possible, I know the court is a little bit restricted, but is it at all possible to have a bench conference about a separate issue? If it's not, we can
now, simply because we have a 3 co-defendant homicide probable cause conference right after this one.
We'll communicate with the court in writing then.
That's fine.
Between Ms. Ferenczi and I. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Bond is otherwise continued.
So Kelly, I mean, we're a ways away from this. This happened like what, 10 months ago. Kelly spent about 6 months in jail. She did end up getting a reduction in bond. Once this case got bound over, this was Judge Walker. Once this got bound over from Judge Walker to the lady that you're seeing now, I don't know what her name is, the judge that we saw today with the blonde hair. Kelly got a reduction in bond once it went over to the Oakland court. This was the Pontiac court, and this got bound over from Pontiac to the Oakland district court, right? And she got a reduction in bond, and she's been out for a little minute now. Kelly is, I just think Kelly is doing what she needs to do to get out of jail. And I mean, I think she's definitely going to see some prison time. What it's going to be, I do not know. But she's had little things here and there. And you see the judge was not taking any slack. Miss Kirangongo can go on and on in those run-on sentence speeches that she does. At the end of the day, they knew what Kelly was doing. Kelly knew what she was doing. She was calling. She wasn't supposed to be calling. Miss Kirangongo is talking about she didn't get it in writing, and the judge is like, but I told you not to do it. So, you know, you see what they're dealing with. So I hope that they hold her accountable, because what she did to those 3 kids is horrible. I don't remember that. Now I need to research where did this happen. Are you talking about this case? What are you talking about? A different case? Michelle Green. Okay. Girl, she sounded terrified. Let's see. All right, you guys. I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you guys a little bit later. If there's something you want me to talk about, drop it down into the comments. I'm not familiar with that case with Michelle Green. I don't know. I'm not sure if I know anything about that. It happened in 2005 when her body was found. I think it was. Oh, okay. So that happened a while ago. Okay. All right, you guys. I'm going to let y'all go. Have a good afternoon, and I'll see you guys a little bit later on. Okay. Take care. Bye, guys.